Hello, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jarek.
And I'm Ryan.
All right, and we're gonna do Incredibles 2 today. So Ryan's gonna give his thoughts. 15 years in the making. What'd you think, Ryan?
15 years in the making. I was expecting a little bit more than what I got. I felt like we waited 15 minutes or 15 years, sorry, for them to push the Me Too movement, which was very unfortunate. So this is my thoughts on it. You have this movie and it's sitting in the archives, basically in the archives. It's debatable, but I feel as though if you're gonna hold a movie back this long, at least show some age progression, and that's one of the cons that I have so far was the age progression. And my second con would be the storyline. I thought it was very weak. I thought they could have did a little bit more with it.
When you mean
and my third con, I would have to go with, basically, the third con would be like, I want to say the fact that the kids weren't grown either. Which kind of bothered me because, again, 15 years, we waited, and then you basically throw this at us. But pretty much those are all my cons. And to get into my pros.
Why'd you start with the cons, Ryan? Did you really not like this movie as much as you thought you would?
Yeah. And I know most people won't admit it about movies. And I know there's some people out there who can tell you everything about a movie and when it came out, the director's name and stuff like that. And that's because they're attached to the film. And I'm very attached to the Incredibles film. It came out in November around the time, basically around my birth month. So I was expecting it to be a little bit better. So when you're attached to something like this and you think they're gonna give you something good, you expect a good production and obviously something good to come out of it, and it didn't happen. So basically I'll just hop right into my pros about it.
All right.
I think the computer work was amazing. I thought they did a great job on that. I could see where they improved with the color, and then obviously I could see where they tried to improve with the superhero outfits as well. So I thought those were kind of cool, and I had also seen the updates that they had made to Frozone's outfit. Go Samuel Jackson. Let's see. That's my first pro. My second pro, I just want to, like I said, I couldn't really point out too many pros in the movie, to be honest with you. There were more cons than anything. But another pro would be, I guess, it came out. So, yeah, kudos to you for making a movie that came out, that was supposed to come out years ago. I will be honest with you and say this could have honestly probably went to DVD. And I know there's going to be some people out there who...
That is harsh. Oh my.
It's harsh, but if you think about it, this storyline was very weak. We already knew that, obviously, Jack had powers. We figured out that in the deleted scenes in the first one.
Really? That did honestly kind of bother me for some reason, because I swear to God, I remember seeing the first Incredibles and then seeing the Jack attack short, and I was like, so do they know he has powers? Do they not know he has powers? Do they not see him own Syndrome at that point? It was very strange, very strange.
And actually, I'll go back. I'll give a fourth con. I know we're only limited to 3, but I'll go ahead and give my fourth one.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to get back to your the agenda stuff you were telling me about earlier.
Oh, most definitely. I'm going to get into that. Like I said, I didn't appreciate the way they pushed the Me Too movement. I mean, like I said, it's definitely debatable that this film was already made and put in the archives, and that they didn't have a decent storyline. So I think they obviously did the computer animation first, and then I think they probably came up with a storyline. And then once they noticed that obviously they waited so long, they figured out, oh, we'll just throw this together and people will like it. This is my problem with that. You covered something huge, as in weapons of mass destruction, in the very first one.
Yeah.
So how do you go from covering weapons of mass destruction to something that's not really a huge issue as of right now that only people are paying attention to in Hollywood. Not what people wanted to see.
I don't know, Ryan. I mean, the message I got out of it was, you can be a mom and a superhero, and you can be both.
But why do you need to promote that?
I was gonna say it's not like it had an impact on me either. I did think it was pretty weak actually, but yeah, no, keep going, man.
Yeah, it was, like I said, very weak storyline. Like I said, the only thing I can actually commend them on is nostalgia. Congratulations, you put a movie out there, and we got a chance to see the people that we kind of love now in their superhero uniforms. And congratulations on not changing the soundtrack. The music is always awesome.
All right, well, Ryan, given everything you've told me, what's your rating out of 6 stars for this one?
Rating of 3.5 stars.
Out of 6? Wow.
Yep.
It sounds like you stretched it a bit. Is there a reason why you gave it just a 3.5 rather than 3? Yeah.
The 3.5 stars because, like I said, congratulations on putting the movie out. I give them props on that, on still cracking the box office because I seen those lines on Friday and Saturday, and people didn't stop showing up.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can actually commend Pixar on is being able to get a crowd. But your storylines are something to be desired. This sucked as for waiting 15 years. Not worth the wait. Next time, come out on DVD. 3.5 stars.
One thing I want to say is I'm going to start with the positives. I like talking about the positives of things. Feels like a continuation rather than a complete carbon copy, which may be something that contradicts what you said about the film. But when the trailer hit, a lot of people were talking about we're already very concerned about what was exactly being involved. It was okay, instead of having Mr. Incredible being the one fighting crime illegally, it was Elastigirl fighting crime illegally. And I could see what the problem of that was, but those thoughts really did just pass along me because I just was so engaged by everything else that was going on with the family dynamics. Because as much as people want to believe that this is a superhero kind of movie, this is a Brad Bird animated feature, and it's something that he knows, he really does appreciate and understand, and I commend him for that. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to direct a film like animated films like this, and I just feel like the characters were consistent with their personalities. They were still engaging, and there was a pretty decent amount of humor in there. And I will commend them, of course, for the action as well. The action in this is fantastic. The way it's directed, there's a lot of what you don't realize is in animated movies they can be very lazy when it comes to action, and especially you just put a bunch of money and fly it around, just get some nice flashes of colors and very, very lazy animation of action. But this movie really elevated itself. I would like to compare this to something like Infinity War. It was spectacle at the most highest quality. It just worked, and I thought that's exactly what made it work. And
I have to laugh at you a little bit.
All right,
now you say the comedy was great.
Oh, I mean,
the comedy at best was all of Jack.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like I don't.
You throw a baby fighting a raccoon,
And Jack featuring the Incredibles.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna lie about that. You're absolutely right. Half of this movie is relegated to everyone realizing that Jack has powers, which again I kind of confused me because I'm like, I feel like they would have gotten over it by now. It's not like it's not like he's not using his powers all the time. He's using them all the time. So why is it at this moment that they are just realizing he has powers? That's what I did not understand.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
But I'll say this. Walking in, not even seeing the trailer first. My thoughts were, I was going to walk into this movie and see at least a 15-year-old Dash, maybe a 21-year-old Violet, and hopefully a 10-year-old Jack. I
Well,
would have liked to see that
well, guess
better
what? I
and a
guess you're gonna have to wait.
continuation
You're
from
gonna
where we left off.
guess what? You're gonna have to wait for Incredibles 3. And I think right from the get go, and this is the problem, Ryan. I understand your criticism about how that works, but what I'm saying is you can't fault a movie for something that it didn't do. You have to fault it on what it did do, and if it did it correctly. And I have to disagree with you here. I feel like the continuation was fine. They literally left off where we left off 15 years ago. And I was okay with it, and I was on board with it. But again, one more thing that I have to commend this, and I do agree with you about, is the soundtrack. They got the same composer doing this stuff, and it really flows well with the movie here. It's amazing. It's amazing what they can do with that, and it just has that sexy jazz vibe to it, for a superhero movie. And I kind of wish more superhero movies did this kind of style. This is and it kind of is the incredible style at this point. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go straight to my cons. All right, if that's fine with you. Not everyone is fleshed out, obviously. We don't get anything out of Dash actually. Instead, we get Violet and her teenage angst, which I think is overdone to death at this point. And this one didn't even do it particularly well. They actually solved it in like at least 5 minutes. Like, oh wow, this guy forgot about me, and oh, my dad fixed that, was trying to help me, and I guess he's trying to do a good job, and it was over by then. It's not like it wasn't even a problem at that point. The conflict there was just non-existent. It's kind of sad how that worked out. Not to mention, yeah, Jack-Jack's development is he has a lot of random superpowers, and the fix was going to Edna Mode and getting a new suit. That's all it was, and it kind of is very very drawn out, and it's unfortunate. And as much as I want to talk about how this is not a complete carbon copy, that is actually one of my cons. It has a lot of recycled plot lines. I mean, what are the odds of billionaires going over to the Incredibles to offer one of them a job rather than all of them? And then one of those people just happened to be a supervillain, as if we did not watch the first movie. And they did acknowledge it, which is kind of weird. I don't know if you noticed that in the beginning. Elastigirl was kind of like, yeah, we just got through that like a month ago. Can we not do that again? But then, out of complete spite, it's like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna have to do this. So, yeah, and I think it was a joke, but as it kept going along, I realized, this is not really working, and it's gonna fall apart soon if it doesn't end soon. And luckily, I felt like this was a fairly short movie, and I think it closed off what it needed to close off. And what I saw is what I liked, most of it liked, and thank God that there was plenty more action in this. But of course, the real thing that hits the nail on the head in this movie is it just has a weak villain. Syndrome. I'm sorry, Syndrome is an amazing villain. I'm sure you understand how much we love Syndrome. He's
Most definitely, Syndrome had comedy, and Syndrome was evil. And no offense, Syndrome started off as a child, so we got a chance to see that development.
Yes. Oh my God, you got exactly what I wanted to say. Yes, that's exactly why. Development. I didn't get a flashback for 5 seconds only for someone to make it obvious that they were the bad guy. Like, what the hell were they thinking when they did that? No, I did not. I did not think it was the fucking brother. I thought it was I thought it was the sister the whole time, and it was just bothering me the whole time because I'm like, if you wanted, I think the only defense they have is like, oh, it's a movie for kids. It's a Pixar movie. Why do you upset? No, you guys know damn well you did not wait. You did not get the fans that waited 15 years for this movie to only tell them, oh well, you're smart. You're getting smarter now. This shouldn't matter to you. It did matter to me because I thought this villain was really cool. The promotional art for it, Screenslaver. It had a catchy tune to it, especially when they were building them up. And I just thought, I get the philosophy, I get the ideas, but there wasn't enough depth there. And as of course, once the reveal hit, it didn't even matter. You already knew who the fuck it was, and it was really annoying.
My point exactly.
Yeah, and of course, as much as I don't want to agree with you, Ryan, yeah, you're absolutely right. The agenda that they decided to pick for this that reflects on our times is does feel a bit pandering. It does. I don't know what it's trying to tell me. I get it. You can have a stay-at-home dad. I'm not. I'm okay with that. But we've seen that plot happen a lot in modern television. TV, Netflix, movies. And as soon as they did it in here, I laughed at a lot of these dad jokes. The math. There's a lot of relatable aspects to that. But then it just kept going, and it didn't know where it was going. And then finally, when it ended, it's like there was no conflict to this, and there was no like commentary. There was no moment where Syndrome literally says what everyone probably understood when he said that. He said, remember that speech where he's telling Mr. Incredible about his plan? Like, all right, once I eliminate all supers, I'll just make all this technology so everyone can be a superhero. So now you won't be special anymore. That I just thought that really is, in a way, very philosophical, very understanding. And in this one, it was, oh, everyone's a lazy fuck because they're sitting their ass on their TV or jerking off to porn. You know, what was that?
Yeah.
What was that supposed to do to me?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I said, I hate to be that guy that comes at a movie that everybody's been waiting for 15 years.
yeah,
But like I said, it wasn't worth it. And let me ask you a question.
yeah. Go ahead, man.
How long do you think it took them to make this movie, animation wise?
I thought the animation was actually a lot more polished. If you go back to the first Incredibles, there's a couple of wrinkles. It's actually a little bit more dated than it used to be. Um, the effects in here were fantastic. I'm sorry, Ryan. I
Well,
like
no,
the
no, no, no.
animation
I'm
here.
not disagreeing with you on that.
All
I just
right.
want to know, do you think the animation was made first,
Oh,
and then
okay.
the storyline was added later?
Oh yeah, and it's unfortunate because Brad Bird, he made the Iron Giant, he made the Incredibles, the first Incredibles, and he made that one, the one modern Mission Impossible movie that actually everyone gave a damn about, and the reason why we're getting another sequel in like 2 months, you know. So yeah, I am kind of ashamed because I feel like this was a studio movie. Part of it was a studio movie, but it worked, you know. Man, it's making millions. It's gonna hit the bank again.
And
And
then if you actually went to see the movie in theaters and you
yeah.
didn't watch it on a Fire Stick, what was that stupid short that they showed before the film?
Oh, dude, that made me cry. What are you talking about?
Oh God, stop! That was pointless.
It was a metaphor for, you know what? I'm not even gonna get
I,
into that. We're not
I got the
reviewing. We're not reviewing a
metaphor.
short. Can I just give my rating right now? We'll talk about
Uh,
this another time.
what's your rating?
I give it a 5 out of 6. Despite everything I did not like about the movie, there was just a lot more I liked. It had that Pixar charm. It did feel like it didn't feel like a Toy Story 3 because it wasn't different enough, but it was definitely a good sequel to a good movie. But unfortunately, it's just a good movie. It's not a great movie, and it's definitely not at the height that Incredibles 1 was. And it didn't. The only reason why it didn't completely fail in being the sequel that everyone wanted is because it knew what it was doing and it just went with it. And I like the family dynamic still. I like the characters still. You put likable characters, like plenty of punch into the script and plenty of action. You're gonna please me, especially as something as interesting as The Incredibles was to me. And you're absolutely right. This is going to be the biggest nostalgia trip for anyone that has seen the first one, but it's also going to be very familiar. And depending on how much you were expecting out of this movie, you should definitely lower your expectations. Don't expect this to be the better one. It's not.
Just go home, watch the first one, and pretend this didn't happen.
All right. Well, you know what? We're out of time for the show, and just follow us on Twitter, kinda underscore critics. Also follow us on Instagram, kinda critics. Thank you again for our lovely people that have been viewing us for these last couple of videos. We hope to change things up pretty soon, and we have a couple surprises. If you guys continue to stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.